In 3, 2, 1.
Reality. Are you living it?
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Our reality.
The show that will stretch your consciousness and awaken you to a world of unlimited possibilities. It's time to change the world. It's time for an awakening. It's time for Our Reality. Hosted by your emissary to planet Earth, Violeta Brankovic.
Hey everyone, good morning. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Welcome to Our Reality, where every week we try to demystify the mystical reality we live in, make it more familiar to us, conquer it, evolve together, everything above. Today is a very special show. We have an amazing researcher live from Istanbul, Turkey. Her name is Farah Yurdozu. She's Turkey's first female UFO researcher, which is amazing. She's a writer and author of several best-selling books in her native land. She's fluent in Turkish, English, and Spanish. She's known on several continents as an authority on UFOs, paranormal, and the metaphysical. She's a well-known TV personality in Turkey, with her constant TV shows about UFOs and paranormal topics on major network channels. Farah continues her work as a UFO researcher, writer, and lecturer, and appears in major UFO conferences all over the United States, from Roswell to California, Nevada to New York City. Farah's gifts as a psychic medium were featured in TLC's paranormal investigation TV series, DEAD TENANTS. She's a columnist for the leading monthly publication UFO Magazine and a journalist at Jerry Pippin Internet Radio. She's also a writer for the Italian X Times magazine and British UFO Matrix magazine. Though her work reflects a passion for all aspects of the paranormal, her main area of study is abductions and close encounters. Farah has a Spanish language teaching degree from Istanbul University. She had a Spanish teaching position at ABC Language Exchange, Columbia University, and NYU in New York City between 2004 and 2010. Farah has written numerous books, so make sure you check her out. Make sure you check her out on YouTube. Also, she has a wonderful YouTube channel where you can learn a lot, and she basically records her travel and her findings, and you can keep up there with her on that channel. Farah, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me on your show. And it is great to hear your voice, because the last time I saw you face to face, I guess it was 2009, 10 years ago. Yeah.
You remember.
In Los Angeles.
Yes.
Obviously, we were together in a conference. This is how we met. And thanks again for having me on your show.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, it's great being on your show. And I have to clear a couple of things about my biography. Obviously, it was written almost 10 years ago. I was a columnist for American UFO Magazine, but I think it is not publishing anymore. They are not publishing it anymore. And the other thing, yes, I was a journalist for Jerry Pippin Radio show, but we lost Jerry Pippin a few years ago. He passed away.
Right.
And after he passed away, they also closed down the radio show, which was amazing. It was an international radio show. But anyway, right now, as we spoke before, I keep continuing my work independently as a UFO researcher, as a writer, as well as I keep working as a Spanish teacher.
That's wonderful.
And I'm going to talk about my latest findings and discoveries.
Yes, I'm excited to do that. First of all, I wanted to ask you, being a female, UFO researcher in Turkey, how are you received?
Okay, here is the thing. I'm Turkish. I was born in Turkey. I was born in Istanbul. Although I lived almost a decade in the United States, in New Jersey and in New York City. So in Turkey, we are, as a Turkish race, as a Turkish nation, we are very much open-minded about UFO reality, because the existence of UFOs is not a belief system for us, it is a reality. So when we talk about UFOs, we don't use the expression, oh, I believe in UFOs. We prefer to say, I know about UFOs. I know the UFOs. So that's one thing. The reason is that in our background, in our heritage, in our mythology, in our traditional belief systems, we are extremely open-minded about spiritual aspects of the life, paranormal cases, life in the universe. I mean, of course, when I say life, intelligent life in the universe, intelligent beings in the universe. So we know that we live in a physical earth, we live in a physical dimension, but at the same time, there are numerous unseen, not physical dimensions around us. And we are only a tiny part of the living universe. So this is how we were grown up since we are little children. And this is a part of our belief system.
Wow.
So it is so normal. I mean, when there is a UFO sighting, when there is a UFO case, you can see it on the headlines of the mainstream newspapers. You can see it on television shows. So the press, the media is very open-minded and supportive about UFO cases or paranormal cases or UFO investigators. So that's why I was always very much welcomed by the society or the press or the media or television channels in the last 30 years since I started to do my research, my writings, my books, my speeches. So that's why, I mean, I did so many television shows, I did so many conferences, and I keep doing. So being a female or male, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that to give something real, something important to the society.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely, and I'm actually impressed and surprised both. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. That's wonderful. That's new information to me, and I'm glad I'm learning something new every week. I've been to Istanbul, beautiful city. So you have guests on your TV shows, and you're continuing the research openly. The public is open to it. Good.
Yeah, extremely.
Extremely.
And
Wow.
the other thing is that, yeah, extremely. Actually, this is normal for us. It is not something extraordinary for us, but it is something very normal. Here is the thing. So, as you know, on Turkish land, at the same time we call our country Anatolia or Anatolian land, we had numerous civilizations. And in 1990s, Göbekli was discovered. What is Göbekli? Göbekli is a Neolithic site, is a Neolithic structure, and it is dated to 12,000 years ago. So the finding of Göbekli changed many things, not only in Turkey, also in the world. It changed the shape of the history chronologically and everything. So Göbekli is located in the southeastern part of Turkey, very close to the Syrian border. And actually, it was first noticed in 1960s, in 1963. An archaeologist from United States noticed the place, but then they didn't do any research. And after that, in 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt was already there because he was in another research center and he visited the site. And after that, they found out that there is a huge Neolithic area dated back to 12,000 years ago. Probably you already saw the photographs or you saw on the television shows.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That was a next question, but I'm glad you went there. So yes, I've seen the maps, and I know it's close to the Syrian border.
Yes.
Yeah, and I see a lot of structures on here. I apologize to my listeners, but we can describe it to you with words. It's basically a lot of T-stone blocks, and there's paintings on them, and it's just arranged almost like Stonehenge. Or can you describe it? You've been there live, right?
Yeah, last year I've been there 3 times. And again, I'm going back there this September because I'm guiding tours there.
I see elongated skulls. I see lots of drawings of what could be perceived of aliens. So what is that location? What do you think happened there?
What is that? What is that? Yes. So when you look at from outside, yes, you see many T-shaped pillars. Actually, they are exactly tau cross shape. Cross shape. And also you see several stone block circles. Yes, it looks like a kind of Stonehenge. It also looks like another Neolithic place in Malta. It looks like that. But Gobekitepe is the oldest one because Gobekitepe is older than Chichen Itza, is older than Giza pyramids, is older than Stonehenge. So it goes back. Yeah, it is very more than interesting, actually. And it is an intelligent structure because when you look at that, it is very clear that it is built. It was built by intelligent beings. So, first of all, I mean, scientifically, C14 carbon tests shows that the structure was made, the group of structure was made in BC 10,500. So we are talking about 10,500 BC. And so archaeologists and historians called the place the first temple of the human race. The first temple of the human race. But personally, I don't accept that it was a temple. It was more a gathering place. It was more a laboratory. It was more a scientific place. Another thing, it wasn't a worshiping place. It wasn't a temple. So that's very important.
That's very important. I can see that from the pictures, kind of, and I will be posting the pictures on our reality web site on Facebook so our listeners can see it. I mean, it's beautiful. It's very photographic, opportunities. There's arches, there's pillars, there's statues. There is skulls, elongated skulls, the same ones that we find in Chichen Itza, but you say this is actually even before Chichen Itza, much older. And, it's interesting. It's located in that area where most prophets lived and the cradle of civilization is might be. So you've done extensive research and you're even connecting it to Abraham, correct?
Yes, because of course much later Prophet Abraham lived there in the town Haran, and in Bible the name of Haran is Edessa. And another thing, so Haran is a town and it is close to Gobekitepe. Haran has a very important role in the metaphysical teachings of the world, not only Turkey. I will explain why. And another thing, the ancient name of Haran was Haranu. Pay attention. Inside of this name, there is Anu, just like Anunnaki. So Haran's original name was Haranu, Anu. So Haranu means the path, the road, travelers. So as if it shows us the travelers who came from somewhere. Actually, we don't know who built Gobekitepe structures complex. We don't know who were they. We don't know Where did they come from? Now, classical archaeology, classical historians say that it was made in the Neolithic time, but it was pre-pottery time. Pre-pottery. So it means that in that time, whoever made or lived in that area were not able to make their pottery. They were hunters gatherers. So they didn't know how to cook their food. They were hunting, or they were picking up fruits or leaves in order to feed themselves. But they didn't know how to make pottery. Okay. So when you look at the Gobekitepe structures, you can clearly see that whoever made them, they were excellent architects. They were excellent engineers. They were excellent artists, sculptors. They were excellent astronomers, and they knew about mathematics. They knew about astrology. Why? Why? Because all the structures, layers by layers, there are groups of structures. All of them has the same model, same shape, but there are a little bit differences between them. So inside of the stone circles, there are several T-shaped pillars, T-shaped columns, 10 to 12, and in the center, 2 of them are facing each other. So all of them were aligned based on the star systems, based on the movements of the Sirius star system, Orion, and at the same time, they knew the movements of the Sirius. They knew the astronomy. So first of all, they knew about astronomy, and they aligned the structures based on the astronomical movements of the universe. So the other thing, there are several types of T-shaped columns. Actually, in the other parts, neighboring parts of Göbekli Tepe, we saw again T-shaped columns. For instance, before Göbekli Tepe, another site, another Neolithic ancient site was found. It is called Nevali Chori. Nevali Chori. So there are very important findings from Nevali Chori. It was first discovered Nevali Chori, and yes, they found the similar T-shaped, tau cross-shaped columns there as well. And now archaeological research continues there. Also, there is Karahan Tepe, another hill, Karahan Tepe. Again, there are similar T-shaped columns. So, another thing, Göbekli Tepe is a Turkish name, obviously, but the meaning is pot belly hill, because the structure is on top of the hill, and when it was found, it was completely covered, because whoever built Göbekli Tepe structures 12,000 years ago, exactly 10,000 BC, they lived there, they stayed there until 8,000 BC, but before they left the area, they buried the complete structures, layers by layers, because still underground, there are more than 200 T-shaped columns. It is not only what we see. What we cannot see is more than what we see. So they stayed there until 8,000 BC. But the location is a hill. And the translation of Göbekli Tepe is the pot belly hill. Actually, at the same time, it means the navel. It's a kind of navel of the earth. So we can interpret this as if the beginning of something new, a rebirth place, a rebirth center. It is about the birth process. It is about the beginning of the life.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. What I think is interesting, first of all, there's clear evidence just from looking at photos and the skulls that a different civilization was there, possibly alien civilization, with really elongated skulls, which we don't have today at all. And
Yeah.
also the Sirius connection. I want to talk about the Sirius connection. I see also some connection to Rosicrucians there. And
Oh, yes. Yeah.
also what's very important to me when I connect the dots a little bit, it's happening right above Syria. And now we know that, Syria and that whole area actually is almost like a dimensional opening, a dimensional Stargate. So I know you and I talked about that particular location being almost a Stargate to the stars, to Orion, to Sirius, and so on. Can we talk a little bit more to that topic?
Yeah, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is connected to each other. Everything is connected to each dot. Okay, so series connection is important, but at the same time, in Göbekli on the pillars, on the columns, there are lots of symbols, and we see the same symbols also in Australian Aboriginal native people. So how could it be possible? The same symbols, same carvings, same signals we found in Göbekli Tepe, also they belong to Australian Aboriginal people. Another thing, in Göbekli Tepe, they found a great number of sculptures belong to men. Everything was found archaeologically, all the relics, I mean, Neolithic sculptures depicts are depictions of the man, not women, okay? So only one archaeological finding was discovered representing a woman in Göbekli Tepe, and it was found in the same hill many years ago. It shows a goddess, mother goddess, giving a birth. Look, it is about the birth. And the same symbol, actually, that carving is in the Göbekli Tepe, in the Şanlıurfa Museum right now. So the same carving, the same symbol, the same birth-giving mother goddess, also it's an Australian mother goddess. So how could this be? So Turkey and Australia has no connection, okay? And we are talking about 12,000 years ago. In Göbekli Tepe, on the T-shaped pillars, you also see lots of foxes, carvings of the fox. As you know, fox, canine, dog is a representation of Sirius, because Sirius star system also is represented as the dog star. That
is very interesting. I'm sorry, Farah, I have to interrupt you. We're going to be taking a short break. It's a hard break, so I didn't want to go ahead and cut you off. But after we come back, we will definitely love to hear more about that, and we will dig in deeper this connection, between the Mother Goddess and how it appears there and the Sirius star connection. So our dear listeners, we're going to be taking a short break, more with Farah Yurdozu, as well as your questions and comments in just a bit. This is Violeta Vrankovic, and you're listening to Our Reality. Thanks for listening.
And now, your emissary to planet Earth, the host of Our Reality, Violeta Vrankovic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Our Reality. I'm Violeta Vrankovic, and we're talking live with Farah Yurdozu, live from Istanbul. Feel free to join the conversation anytime by connecting with me on chat, Twitter, or even calling into the show at 702-425-9230. Now, it's very interesting to have Farah with us today. I know she's an experienced lecturer and a teacher and a researcher, and she could talk on this topic for hours. Unfortunately, we have limited time, but what we're doing here is an introduction to this site. She's actually researching and discovered more and more things. It's called Gobekitepe. I totally killed that one. But
okay, it is not so difficult. Gobekitepe.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I'm good. I'm just gonna stick with writing it down, but it's really interesting. Gobekitepe. Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Here is the thing. Gobekitepe is accepted as the World Heritage List of UNESCO last year in 2018, and this year in Turkey it is the year of Gobekitepe.
Oh,
so
that's wonderful.
why. Yeah. So
That's
our government is giving a lot of support to Gobekitepe findings and the preservation of the location.
Gotcha.
And still, here is the thing: Gobekitepe is a miracle, but it comes with lots of questions that we still cannot find the answers. Because here is the first question: who made it? We don't know, and why they built it. We suppose the reason. How did they use it? It wasn't a temple. And why did they leave it? Because they left it, they buried it. Another thing, as I said, whoever built the Göbekli Tepe, as I said, were excellent architects, excellent engineers, excellent mathematicians, astronomers, and artists. They knew all these disciplines. But for some reason, they never left us anything written. They never left us anything written, not cuneiform, not hieroglyphs, nothing. So everything was shown as symbols, with the symbols of the animals, because they were following the path of the star systems. Everything was shown as animal patterns. Another thing, so they didn't want to leave us anything written. And here is a big question: what language were they speaking?
That's very interesting. They were probably like, they won't be able to read in the future. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
These symbols are universal. So I think, looking far into the future, maybe they had time travel machines, maybe they didn't. But the language of the symbols is always well and alive. Gobekitepe. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go on, Farah. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what language were they speaking? What race was that? During the excavations, also, some human skulls were found in Göbekli Tepe burial area, human skulls. So, for some reason, nobody did any DNA tests on the skulls, on the human skulls. So, when they make the DNA tests, we will have an idea about the origin, about the race of the people who made Göbekli Tepe. Now, we see a lot of symbolism. We see a lot of snake symbolism that's very prominent. But again, we are talking about at least 3 different locations. The first one is Nevali Chori. The second one is Göbekli Tepe. And now they are opening another hill, which is Karahan Tepe. So most of the snake symbolism is coming from Nevali Chori, as you can see in Şanlıurfa Museum, in the City Museum. So we suppose that we are talking about 2 different groups, or maybe 3 different groups. Yes, they existed almost in the same time period, almost in the same area, but they belong to different groups, to different tribes maybe. So Nevali Chori and Göbekli Tepe shows us a different phase of different groups of people. So why we are talking about Göbekli Tepe was the navel of the society, or as a birthplace. Long before Göbekli Tepe structures were discovered, local people knew that hill, local villagers. And for them, that hill was a sacred, was a holy place. Actually, today still, there are 3 graveyards there. We don't know who are buried there. But long before the archaeological findings, when a woman cannot get pregnant, and when they want to have a baby, they used to go to the hill and they used to pray. And according to the local people, after that praying, after that visiting, or how can I say, visiting the place, they used to get pregnant and have a baby. So this is a local belief system. And it is the same place where the archaeologists found the birth-giving mother goddess structure. So it was always related about giving birth. It was always related about bringing a new life to this world. Another thing, Neolithic people, we are talking about Neolithic people, and in the history books or even in the documentaries, when you talk about Neolithic people, they show them with lots of hair on their head, lots of facial hair, lots of hair on their body. It's a kind of Stone Age man, caveman. That's the representation of the Neolithic man. But another big size man statue was found in the same area.
I saw that. It's similar to the Easter Island statues, right? That's the one you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, it is in the human size, and it is the first sculpture was made in the human size or ever in the world. So we call him Urfamen because it was found in the city center of Urfa. When you look at that man, he has no hair. Actually, his head is completely shaved. He has no facial hair. So his eyes are black. He has a perfect nose, but it is broken now. He has ears. Everything is very normal, but he has no mouth. So the artist carved a perfect face, hands, body, but for some reason, he has no mouth. Another thing, his hands are together under his belly, just like the sculptures in Eastern Island, the same style. So we also in the museum see only men sculptures. We don't see anything related to the women. That's why we believe that, especially I personally believe that, Gobekitepe was the first beginning of a brotherhood, of a society, of a philosophical, almost esoterical society. Only men were the members. It wasn't open to the women. That's why we couldn't find anything related to female aspects. Because at the same time, in Turkish land, in Anatolia, mother goddess worshipping was very important, but much later. So for some reason, we cannot find any significant information about mother goddess worshipping or mother goddess concepts. Everything is based on male concepts. So that's why I believe that brotherhoods, esoteric brotherhoods, first started there. And Göbekli structures it wasn't a temple, but it wasn't a gathering place. Also, it wasn't a residential area. So whoever made them, they didn't live there. They didn't have their houses. They didn't have their kitchens there. They didn't live there. They were gathering there. I think they were following the movements of the Sirius star system because the fox carvings on the T-shaped pillars shows exactly the movements of the Sirius. So
that's good to notice. I just wanted to tell you one thing. This is great. Everything you researched, all the conclusions the researchers came to. It's sometimes there's such a huge gap 12,000 years, 8,000 years, we can only speculate what they really meant with it, and according to our findings and what they wanted or didn't want to leave, or if they even had us in mind, right? But what I feel is interesting also, that first of all, clearly there's evidence of alien life forms, for lack of better words, because they're definitely not human skulls. There's clearly evidence of structures and symbolism that doesn't belong to our civilization today, or planetary alignments today. So it's really it looks like a temple that was built there for a specific reason. And we were talking also about the grid lines of the Earth, and that could be a possible Stargate there, and that's why they were there.
Yeah, actually, in Turkey, we discovered other Stargates as well. For instance, in Cappadocia region, which is more center of Turkey. It is located in the central part of Turkey. And in Gobekitepe, we also find some traces of Anunnaki. How? That's very interesting. All over the world, Anunnaki gods are carrying a kind of handbag in their hands. Did you notice? And sometimes people make jokes and they call it handbag of the gods. So when you look at the Mesopotamian, Babylonian, Assyrian, or even South American, Central American Anunnaki god depictions on the carvings, they carry something in their hands and it looks like a handbag. So we see the same thing in Göbekli Tepe, especially in one of the pillars, which is number 43. There are 3 Anunnaki handbag carvings on top of the pillar, on top of the column. So there is also an Anunnaki connection there. But again, as I said, Göbekli Tepe people lived there between BC 10,500 until 8,000. So it's a very long time period. We are talking about a few generations. We are not talking about the same people. So people lived there, died there, new ones came, and they created new things. So there was a constant movement.
Got you.
Another thing, go on.
Yeah, I wanted to say, me personally, I mean, I respect everyone's opinion, but I try to stay away. I know a lot of people call the Anunnaki gods. I just simply don't think they're gods at all. I just think they're actually higher evolved beings, because a lot of times, throughout history, higher evolved beings actually visited the planet, and in Greek mythology, we have them. We have different creatures everywhere. I believe, there is one God, and of course, he created many creations, which some are above and some are below, not in morality, but in actual abilities. So when maybe we saw that somebody can do something different than us, like a spider, he can hang on to the wall. He has different abilities. So higher evolved species obviously had different abilities. We call them gods. I just steer clear away from from that, because people end up not knowing who to worship and who to turn to. And in my opinion, there's clearly one source in the universe, and everybody else is just a species that has been created. But I think it's interesting what you have found out, and also the fact that these evolved beings had something to do with our civilization early on, and clearly were all over the world, seems like, and also left definitive traces, if not maybe, like you said, no hieroglyphs, no nothing. So maybe they were the ones that were connected to simply Sirius more than anywhere else. What do you think?
Okay, so one thing about Anunnaki gods concept. So I agree with you, and I believe that the universe was created only by one force. When we say Anunnaki, it is the race of Anu. It is the race of Anu who came from the sky and who came from the earth. Also, in our Hittite mythology, in Turkish Hittite mythology, we have a lot of information about that. So it is the topic of another show in the future, I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally, when people face or encounter with a group of people who have more advanced technology or more advanced paranormal abilities, they used to call them gods. Obviously, they were not gods who created the universe, the star systems, and everything, macrocosmos, microcosmos. So they were just probably biological beings from another dimension, maybe another star system, but they were not angels, they were not ghosts, they were not spirits. Yes, of course, they were not creative gods. They were advanced beings, but they were biological beings. And also in Turkish mythology, in Greek mythology, in Sumerian mythology, pay attention, all the so-called gods are getting married with humans. They are eating, they are drinking, they are living a normal biological life. Obviously, they were biological beings. But anyway, let's say beings who came from the earth and who came from the inside of the who came from the sky, who came from the underground, the race of Anu. The race of Anu has some symbols. One symbol is the handbag, or handbag looking like an object. So we see the same thing in Göbekli Tepe. That's an important connection. So, okay.
That's true.
Yeah. And so when we do more research about Göbekli Tepe and Sirius connection, fox, obviously, fox, dog was the symbol, is the symbol of Sirius in many civilizations. This takes us to Dogon society, to Dogon tribe in Mali, in Africa. As you know, Dogon society has a very advanced knowledge, detailed knowledge about Sirius star system, and it is a part of their mythology, their life, their belief system, and everything. Again, when we look at the symbolism of Dogon society, their sacred holy symbolism, we have the same things, same symbols, exactly the same symbols in Göbekli Tepe. And one of the symbols that I sent you the pictures, but we cannot show the pictures on the radio show, sadly, it is Orion. It is the symbol of Orion. It is the same symbol in Göbekli Tepe. It is the same symbol in the Dogon society, in the Dogon tribe of Africa. So, which is amazing. So how could it be? Now, we have connections with Australia and now with Africa. So probably you already know Kanaga symbol. Kanaga symbol, it shows Orion. It is originally Dogon symbol, Kanaga symbol. It looks like the letter O H, but it shows the location of Orion star system. So we have the same symbol in Göbekli Tepe, same symbol in Dogon. So how could it be possible? Too far away. Also, we have some totems in Göbekli Tepe. We see the same totems in some Central Asian countries. Snake symbolism, we see it everywhere. So when we put together all this information, actually, this is my personal research, my personal belief, my personal opinion. This takes us to lost continent of Mu, lost continent of Mu. And Turkish race, Turkish people, believes that our origin is Mu, lost continent of Mu. And as we know, the civilization of Mu was brought by the people from star system Sirius. So that's why there is always a serious connection between Göbekli Tepe and the other parts of the world. Also, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk,
Mm-hmm.
the founder of the modern Turkish government, the founder of the modern Turkish society.
Mm-hmm.
He was very much interested in history. He was a historian and he was writing history books. He was a writer as well. He wasn't. He was our first president. He was the founder of Turkish Republic. He was a military man, but at the same time, he was a scholar. He was a writer and historian. So in 1930s, he was very much interested in James Churchward's books about Mu. So he got them translated into Turkish, and he started to study the lost continent of Mu, the civilization of Mu, and he found out that the ancient Mayan language, which is originated from Mu, has a lot of similarities with Turkish language. So again, Turkish language and ancient Mayan language, they have same words. How could it be possible?
Right.
Because when the continent Mu was destroyed, some of the survivors came to Australia, some of the survivors came to Central Asia, some of them went to Central America, North America, South America. And again, it is a very clear proof that, yes, that's why in Gobekitepe, in Australia, in Asia, in South America, in Central America, in Eastern Islands, we see the same symbols because Göbeklitepe's origin was Mu. I believe that some of the survivors of the Mu continents followed the path in Asia, and yes, they came to Anatolia, and this is how they start from zero, a new life, a new community, and it became today's Göbeklitepe. But some of them arrived to Australia. That's why we are having the same similar symbols in Australia, in Asia, in South America. So everything shows lost continent Mu, and it shows Sirius.
That's wonderful. I wanted to tell you, Farah, we're actually, unfortunately, down to time is almost running out. I wanted to thank you for being on the show. I also wanted to tell our listeners you can find more information on Farah at farahyurdozu.net. That's her official webpage. Also connect with her on Facebook. And we will be talking, hopefully in the future, more about that lost continent of Mu between Australia and the Americas. Actually, we're completely out of time.
You've been listening to Our Reality, hosted by Violeta Frankovic. Live every Saturday from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the host as well as the show, as well as upcoming guests, please check out our reality show page at kcorradio.com.
Our reality.
From the ordinary to the extraordinary, we've got you covered. Our Reality, changing the world, one topic at a time. This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.